welcome to my channel and welcome to the first speed build of my new save file. And I say new save file like I already have one, which I definitely do not. So we're starting in the world of Copperdale, which came with the high school years expansion pack. And this lot is called, I think it's called LaSuli Point. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. I'm not very good with pronunciations, but it's a 20 by 15 lot. So it's quite small and it's on like the right hand side of Copperdale. You know where the starter home is? Well, it's basically that lot there. And I've decided to build a house for 3 Sims. So my idea with this family is that there's a mum and there's a dad, and then there is a teenage son. So I felt like I needed to include a teenager just because we're in the world of Copperdale, and if you're going to have a teenager anywhere, this is the world to have them in. So I had a bit of an idea for the kind of backstory of this family, which I will get into in a little while. But the house is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. It's not small, I wouldn't say, but it's an average sized house, I'd say. And I actually had a lot of fun decorating this house. I kind of decorated it in a way as to show that the family aren't particularly materialistic. They don't have that much money. I mean, they're not poor by any means, but they don't kind of center themselves around like new flashy things. So the house is decorated in a kind of simple way with more like kind of old furniture, I'd say, like things that they've kind of just picked up over the years and they just haven't felt the need to replace. And I had the idea that the family originally came from Brindleton Bay. So a lot of the items that I've used inside the house come from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack, which is where we got the world of Brindleton Bay from. And if it doesn't come from that pack, I've kind of used items that have that same kind of vibe. I don't really know if you know what I mean, but I feel like the Cats and Dogs pack has a very certain look to it. But anyway, let me quickly talk about what we're doing outside at the moment. So I've built the kind of main shell of the house, and now I'm just coming around and adding the wallpaper on, and I think I'm about to add the windows. So I used the wooden plank kind of wallpaper that came with the Horse Ranch expansion pack. And I really like the look of this, and I ended up using the Horse Ranch windows as well, actually, as well as the windows from, I always get these windows mixed up. It's either from Seasons or it's from Cats and Dogs, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I used the Cats and Dogs ones, but I just always get those two mixed up. So when I was building this house, I already knew that I didn't want to have like the traditional back garden or front garden on this build. If you look around at like the surrounding area, you can see that it doesn't really need a fence around this lot. It would be nice if they can kind of just walk out of their back garden onto the beach. And I just kind of wanted to make it feel like when you go out of build mode and the white line around the lot disappears, I wanted it to kind of like seamlessly blend in so that you couldn't tell where the lot begins, if that makes sense. So what I did is I went into the live edit menu and I found the plants that are around in the surrounding area around this lot, and then I used them and I pushed them right up against the edge of the lot as well, so it kind of overlapped. And I think it kind of makes it look quite seamless, but you'll have to let me know what you think or whether you think I should have just put a garden in. But now you can see me adding the windows, and I can't even tell now whether they're Cats and Dogs or Season windows, but I also added these windows which came with the Laundry Day expansion. No, it's not an expansion pack, the Laundry Day stuff pack. And I really love these windows. I just feel like I don't use them very much. So as you can see, I kind of went a little bit overboard and I ended up placing about 4 of these down. And when I come back into decorating a little while, I do have to remove one just because when I did the floor plan, it ended up being in the kitchen, and the way that I laid the kitchen out, it just didn't kind of work. So we do end up with 3 of these windows still, which I feel is plenty. Anyway, I quickly wanted to chat about the family that I have made to live here. So with all of these builds, I will be decorating them and building them with a family in mind, just because I find that easier and I feel like it makes it less like, not boring, but I want each house to have kind of its own personality. So for this house, I have already made the family, and I will just pop them up on the screen now so you can see them. So we have the dad called Douglas, we have a mum called Maggie, and we have a teenage son called Elias. And basically the story of this family is that Maggie and Douglas used to live in Brindleton Bay, and I'd put them probably like in their mid 60s now. So they lived in Brindleton Bay when they were like, what, 50? And they both kind of decided throughout their lives together, because they've been together for a very long time, they've both decided throughout their lives that they didn't want to have children, and that it was never kind of something that they were going to do. So they just kind of like lived their life together. And I wouldn't say they were particularly focused on their careers, because they're not the kind of people that are like constantly pushing for a promotion. So in other words, the autonomy was on, because when I played The Sims, my Sims are constantly pushing for a promotion. But anyway, yeah, so they were just living a normal life in Brindleton Bay, loving life. Oh, they've also got a dog, by the way. But the dog that they've got here isn't the one that I imagined that they had 15 or whatever years ago back in Brindleton Bay. But anyway, I digress. So one day, Douglas is outside looking down the telescope, through the telescope. I don't really know how you say that. So he was just loving life, you know, gazing up at the sky, when all of a sudden, you've probably guessed it, he gets abducted by aliens. So Douglas ends up pregnant with an alien baby who is Elias. And yeah, so they have to relocate over to Copperdale. So they kind of don't have to explain to their friends and their family how they've kind of just ended up with this baby that is actually blue. But yeah, so they've moved over to Copperdale. They're living their best lives. I've actually just placed a telescope down in the garden, which Douglas definitely doesn't use anymore. But I kind of just imagined that Elias was really intrigued about where he comes from. So when we go up and we decorate his bedroom later, I kind of made it quite like space alien, like themed, if you get what I mean, but still like for a teenager. So I didn't use like the kids kind of stuff, but I still think it looks really good. And also, side note, their new dog is called Rocket. I had way too much fun creating these Sims. It's so funny because normally I do this when I'm building houses, like I do imagine the Sims that are going to live there, and I do give them a kind of a backstory, but I never actually really like create the Sims, if that makes sense. So they're in my mind, but I don't actually make them. So it's been really fun to actually create them this time. And I've just moved on into the inside, but I just quickly want to say that I did put a cat mailbox out the front, because originally I was going to give this family cats, but obviously we changed to dogs. So I do go back out there and I changed that to a dog mailbox later on. And as you can see, there's the laundry day stuff windows in the kitchen. So that window there I do remove in a minute, just because I did the layout of this kitchen as kind of, I think it's called like a galley kitchen, where it's just like kind of like two sides opposite each other. And then when I looked at it, I just didn't really like it very much. So I do end up removing that window and just adding a normal average window, whether it's cats and dogs or seasons, who knows. And then I kind of make it into a U-shaped kitchen. And you'll see in a minute as well that I think it came with the kitchen clutter kit. It's like the trolley, and I put it in the middle of the room, but I put two and I kind of like back them up against each other. And I really liked how this looked, but when it came round to playtesting it, the Sims just couldn't get in the fridge. So I ended up just having to use one. So yeah, I have playtested this whole build and checked it thoroughly, and anything that I've had issues with, I've moved. The only thing I can remember having a problem with was this, the middle bit that I put in the kitchen in a minute. So it's all been playtested. There is something that I will show you that is just decorational in a minute, but I knew that it would be like that when I built it. So I wasn't trying to make it functional, if that makes sense. You might have just seen me messing around with the sink. Oh, look, I'm still messing around with it now. So when I place these counters down, the way that the counters laid out, because of the amount of tiles that I have in this kitchen, the sink wouldn't go centrally underneath the window. And for me, that is a problem. So what I do is I place like the standard counter in the middle, and then I just add the edge counters on either side of the sink, and you do kind of have to like alt place them so that they kind of like fit in and don't look weird with the handles and stuff. But I've checked it all and it's all functional. Your Sims have a counter that's separate that they can still prepare food on. So this doesn't actually affect gameplay at all. I just really like my sink to be central underneath my window. You might also have just seen me messing around with the tool mod. So what I do is I raise each counter on each side of the sink up slightly by like 0.001, just so that it doesn't do that like weird flickery thing that you see sometimes when you overlap items. But the way that the tool mod works is you don't need to have the tool mod installed to download a build where they've used the tool mod, if that makes sense. So you can download this build from the gallery and everything's going to be in exactly the same place that I put it with the tool mod, regardless of whether you have the mod or not. And it's not going to like flag as CC or anything. It's literally not going to affect your game whatsoever. So you definitely don't need to have the tool mod installed to download this from the gallery. But if you are on PC and it is an option for you to have tool and you really like building, I would really recommend you getting it, just because it's so good. I just can't express my love for the tool mod. And also the Better Build Buyer mod, which is also by TwistedMexi, and that just categorizes debug and live edit for you. So you know like how you used to have to type in BB show live edit objects or whatever it was, or BB show hidden objects, and then you had to like type in debug and search all the way through and it would take you hours just to like find one thing. Well, with this mod it's all categorized for you, so it will come up in the right categories, and or not only that, but you can just kind of select whether you want to just see live edit objects or debug object, and it makes your life so much easier. So I would highly recommend that mod as well if you are somebody that builds a lot. Anyway, you can see me placing these trolleys down now. I'm really looking back at it. I should have known that this would cause an issue, but I just really liked how it looked and I wanted something in the middle of the room. So yeah, when I come back to playtesting it, I do just change it and just change it down to 1. I do keep all the items on it though. They're just kind of more stacked up together. But anyway, I really enjoyed how this kitchen turned out. When I made The Sims, I made Douglas a foodie and I also gave him like the culinary aspiration. So I imagine that he spends a lot of time in this kitchen cooking. And I also imagine that Elias spends a lot of time in here like doing his homework. So I put a little stool up against the like middle trolley, which I do keep once I narrow it down to 1. But your Sims can actually sit there. Obviously, they can't like lean on the surface and do homework, but they will sit there and like eat or chat with the family or whatever they feel like doing. And this really helped me with narrowing down a dining room table, because there's a few dining room tables that are for like bar height chairs, if that makes sense. So I think this one's from Lovestruck, and the like normal dining chairs don't fit up against it. You have to use bar stools. So I kind of like imagined that one of the bar stools had been pulled away from the main table to be put in the kitchen. And so it made me find a dining room table a lot easier, because normally I will sit there and try about like 10 different combinations of chairs and tables. So that really helped me out. But something I did really struggle with in this build was curtains. I think I didn't really help myself because I used like multiple different windows from different packs and they were all different sizes. So I had like the big laundry day window, and then I had the tiny horse ranch ones, and then I had like the medium other ones. And it just made finding curtains a bit of a pain. So I ended up going for these Desert Luxe curtains, which when you like look at the build, they wouldn't be what I would like choose if I had like a lot of different options. But I just feel like we're quite limited with plain curtains in the game. And I know we have like quite a few from, I think we got some from like Seasons and maybe some from Eco Lifestyle that are quite plain. And then obviously the Desert Luxe and the Modern Luxe ones. But I don't think I liked them. I feel like the swatches weren't right. And I didn't feel like the Modern Luxe ones would look right. So we ended up with these. I feel like they work okay because they're like, they have the wooden bit and the blue ties everything in. But yeah, I really want some just like new plain curtains. That is like one of the things that I want. And also later on when I'm decorating the bedroom, I feel the same way about like bedside table lamps. I just want some plain lamps. I find myself using the same one over and over and over again just because I can't find like a normal like plain one. I do like the one we got with the For Rent expansion pack, and I use the Seasons lamp quite a lot as well. But I would quite like some new lamps. Anyway, moving on, I am now putting in like a kind of like window seat in this laundry day window. This isn't functional because as you like move it outside with the tool mud, it does actually like become an outside object. So you'll see like the outside lighting on it as well. So yeah, it's not functional, but I did think it looked quite nice. And then you'll see that I had to rotate the like counter next to the washing machine just because I was like, oh, there's a door on this cupboard and then never be able to open that with that bench there. So yeah, I rotated that round. And also, fun fact, if you rotate the counters round in the kitchen, like and decorate them as normal kind of thing, your Sims can still prepare items on them, like when they're back to front, which I think is really cool, especially if you don't like the kind of decoration of the front of the counter. The only thing is, obviously, the sink has to be on the right side unless you use an island. But yeah, fun fact. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly talk to you about the new expansion pack, which is called Adventure Awaits. And I will be getting early CFE access to the pack. So, you know, like the version where your name kind of like bounces around the screen and people can make like really early content with it and kind of like see what the game has to offer kind of thing with just base game. So I will be getting that version of the game soon, and I would really like to know what kind of things you guys want to see or like want to know about the pack. I'm actually really excited for it. I think more so because the last pack that came out, the Enchanted by Nature pack, just really wasn't really up my alley. So I feel like this one definitely is more so. So I am really excited to see what kind of things we get from it. And I'm super excited to look into the build buy items. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you guys know and see what kind of things you want. Anyway, we are about to go over into the living area of this house. And I already knew what sofas I wanted to use for this house. So I picked the ones that came from the Basement Treasures kit, I think it's called. And I picked like the stripy swatch of them. And I feel like these sofas just kind of suit this family because I feel like they're like the kind of sofas that look like you've had them for like 20 years. You know what I mean? So these sofas have been with Maggie and Douglas for a long time and not going to be getting rid of them anytime soon. And I also just feel like they make the house look like really cozy. I feel like sometimes when you have like really modern furniture, like it doesn't look as lived in. And I really wanted this house to look very lived in. Like, you know that people live here. You can tell the type of people that live here from just looking at the furniture. And I feel like it works. So you'll see I placed down an old box TV, and I also did the same with the computers. So there's one computer in the living room, and then there's also one upstairs in the teenagers' room. And I made sure to use like the old kind of like boxy PCs, just because I feel like these aren't the type of people that are going to go out and buy like top of the range electronics. So yeah, I just feel like that kind of just fit their family more. Also, I just wanted to quickly say that even though obviously I'm building this for a save file, each one of my builds I will upload to the gallery so you can download them as and when, or you don't have to wait for however long it's going to take me to complete this save file for you to download the build. So this will be up in my gallery, and I normally add a furnished and an unfurnished version of my builds just because I know a lot of people like to decorate builds themselves. So I will probably do that with this one as well. My gallery ID is Luciaivy, or you could probably find me a lot easier if you search by hashtag and just do hashtag Luciaivy, because I know a lot of people have trouble finding me for some reason. Sometimes it just says like nothing's found, which is really annoying. But yeah, if you can't find me, search me by hashtag. Also, leave a comment and let me know if you have any ideas for families and like backstories, and then I can build houses around like the ideas that you guys have. It doesn't have to be in Copperdale because I feel like I'm probably going to flip between like different worlds, and so that I don't bore myself and also bore you with just Copperdale builds. So yeah, just let me know if you have any ideas, and by the time this is posted, I will probably be like into my next build, so it won't be the next one, but I would definitely love to use some of your guys' ideas. So we're just finishing off the living room area now. I'm just decorating this entryway area, and then I'm going to go over and do kind of like an office. I say office, it's not really an office because in the living room it's just a desk with a computer on it and a filing cabinet, but for the purpose of the video, it is an office. And then we're going to head upstairs, and I think we start in the parents' room. Can someone tell me why I find adult bedrooms so hard to decorate at the moment? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I really enjoy decorating like downstairs places now, like the kitchen and the living room and places like that. And bedrooms I just find really boring now. I feel like maybe it's because I've been building like quite big houses recently. So like each house has had like 4 or 5 bedrooms, and then maybe like I've overdone it. And now I just don't really want to decorate bedrooms anymore. But I feel like the bedroom turned out all right. I had another issue with curtains, and I ended up using some curtains from Cats and Dogs, and I feel like they worked okay. I think the bedroom just came out a little bit more old-fashioned than I originally would have liked, but I definitely lent into the Cats and the Dogs furniture, and I feel like if you do that, that's just kind of what's going to happen. And I do come in later on and change the wallpaper in here, which I do think also helps. So originally I have the wallpaper from the Basement Treasures pack, and then like the Horse Ranch wood paneling. And then later on I come in and I just change it for, I think it's from Parenthood. It's just like the wooden like panels along the bottom and then like plain at the top. And I do think that helps make it look a little bit, I don't know if it, like I'd say less old fashioned, but I just feel like it makes it look better. I definitely did decorate this room generically though, so like anyone could really live here, and I feel like that's the same with the teenagers room as well. I know I said I put up like space posters and made it like he's into science and stuff, but I just feel like that could fit like any teenager really. So this house is definitely one you can download and just put like your normal Sims in there. It's not going to be an issue. There's nothing like too out there or too specific in it. You'll see I just accidentally flipped the bedside tables round when I was trying to move the lamp, and I ended up liking the back of the bedside table more than I liked the front. So I did flip these both around. I don't know what it is about flipping furniture back to front in this build, but I seem to have really enjoyed doing it. So anyway, we're just finishing up the bedroom now. I think I add a bookcase and a little chair and also a dog bed for the dog. I think there's like 3 dog beds in this house. I think there's like a dog bed in every room apart from the bathroom and the teenagers room. But I mean, the dog's got options. I mean, maybe later on down the line, they might adopt another dog or another 2 dogs. Who knows? Anyway, we're about to move on into the teenager's bedroom. And like I said, I didn't decorate it like childish in like a space theme, but I did add a lot of posters. So I spent a little time going through the Build Buy posters and trying to like pull anything out that had either like aliens on it or like rockets, stars, anything space related or like science related. And I pulled those all out, and then I put them above his like computer desk in the corner. And I did slightly rotate them with the tool mod and then pulled them away from the wall just so that like they didn't do that annoying flickery thing. And I feel like it turned out really nice, but you'll have to let me know what you think. I also had loads of problems with curtains in this room again. I ended up sticking with the Desert Luxe curtains, and I should have just stuck with them to start with. I don't know why. I spent probably like 10 minutes again messing around with curtains. Obviously in this room I have got 2 different windows, but apparently I just love making my life more difficult. So yeah, we went for the Desert Luxe ones and they worked fine. Originally, I was starting to decorate this room in green, but then I decided to go for blue. So I changed the colour of the bed and the computer chair. And here I am adding the Desert Luxe curtains, which I feel like they look quite nice actually. And then you're going to see me add in all the posters in a minute. One thing I do quickly want to say before somebody pulls me up on it is I completely forgot to add any wardrobe or place for him to store his clothes in his bedroom. And I know that's not like essential with The Sims because they can change their clothes in front of the mirror or like it doesn't really matter. But just for like realism purposes, I do come back in and I add a wardrobe for him. So yeah, don't worry about that. If you have noticed, I do add one in later on. Honestly, I've done worse though before. One time I built a house and I'm pretty sure I only had like one bathroom as well. And I completely forgot to put a toilet in the bathroom. So I decorated this bathroom really nicely. It had like really good, like a counter along like one wall and then like the shower and sink. And yeah, I completely forgot to put a toilet in there. So that was awkward. And I also always forget to put bins in. I don't know if it's just me, but like kitchen bins, I always forget them. And also outside bins as well. I have put 2 outside bins on this build. I've put one at the front and I've put one at the back because there's nothing worse than like when your kitchen's on like one side of the house and when your Sims have got to take the trash out, they've got to like walk a mile to take the trash out. I find that really annoying. So yeah, I put 2 outside bins in. But guys, I'm going to end this voiceover here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I would really, really appreciate it if you could leave me a comment down below telling me what you liked or giving me some ideas for families for the next builds. I really hope you enjoyed watching me build this house. It is up on the gallery for you to download. It is in a furnished and unfurnished version, so make sure you grab the one that you want. My ID is Luciaivy. You can search me by ID or you can search me by hashtag using hashtag Luciaivy, which is probably the best way to search for me. And anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you all and I will see you in the next one. Bye.